Alright, got my headphones in. What's up, y'all? This is Sunny. I'm gonna try to go through this trade really quickly. But I traded this stock and I did poorly on it simply because I told myself that I wanted to stick to my rules, and I made a promise to Sykes that he said it in his Twitter that promised me that you're gonna be careful this week, and I stated that I would, and that I saw this stock and it didn't look too good, and I'm not gonna play it until market open. And if it gives me an opportunity, I'm gonna take it. If not, I'm out. Um, so I mean, we're going into this trade. Uh, I just didn't follow my rules. I was supposed to cut at a certain point, and I didn't. Um, so I'll go over this trade. I saw pre-market. It was holding up nicely, but I could tell it wanted to fall. Or not fall, but drop. I can tell each time it went up, it was being sold into all these wicks you can see here. It was getting sold into, and um, right here you see that they're trying to hold it up because once it comes down, um, it's propped back up and continues going. So I didn't really like this trade at all. I went into the float checker and checked the float. The float was a little too high for me, so I decided not to trade it pre-market, and that was probably one of the the best things I could do in this trade. Although like it spiked market open, I didn't want to trade it pre-market. It spiked up 20 cents, 25 cents, almost 25 cents. Um, One thing I also want to say too before I go further in is I was watching a webinar with Tim Bowen. He spoke about how to review the actual flow because there's times where I realize, this is not always accurate. Um, but he he showed a way where you can actually review a more accurate way of a way to review a more accurate way of the flow, and that's through the percentages of insiders and um, what the owner of the company has, and then you also got to factor in what they're diluting as well. But I got to review that video again. It was all about SECs and stuff. Um, but yeah, and then after I looked at the flow, I looked at the SEC filings, saw that they had a 424B. I didn't go too deep into it. I already knew just by looking at the chart, the yearly chart, they're dumping shares. It was at the stock was at $22 a few months ago, or last year, 6 months ago, and now it's at $2. So they're just dumping, and there hasn't been any stock split. Um, so I didn't need to go too much into looking at the SEC filings. They had no current news as far as today. They probably put some news in when it comes to uh, Yahoo Finance, but there was no 8K filed. Which when I see that there was no 8K filed, um, I don't like that. I didn't even look at the Yahoo Finance to see if there was any news. I just saw that there was no 8K filed. I didn't like that, but why would I trade it, right? If if there was no news, or I didn't think there was any real news. Um, but now I'm looking. Now they reported it had some good earnings. The first quarter earnings was what? Um, you see they 4.5 thousand a year on year growth revenue, 33% from the year 2021. So they had good earnings. I didn't even know that. Um, I just seen the SEC filings. There was nothing really here. Nothing recently posted. So I looked at the 10K, which remember the 10K doesn't have to be audited, so some information can be incorrect. It could be incorrect. And I just typed in Command F, no at the market. Oh, I just see at the market somewhere. ATM. No ATMs. Is just treatment instead of ATM. At the market. Um, I'm seeing something that spoke at the market value. Warrants shall have a term of 5 years and shall be exercised at the market. So I knew they had at the market. Then when I looked up the offerings, um, I kept looking through it and I saw like all this stuff. I looked further into it, but there's somewhere here where I was like, okay, they're dumping shares for sure. I mean, I didn't even need to look at it much, and I honestly didn't because I knew they were dumping shares. You can just look at the yearly chart. Use of proceeds, they were dumping shares in 2021 in November. Um, they dumped some more March 30th recently, so you know they're dumping. So I decided, okay, I'm not gonna get in. Although I was tempted to get in pre-market, like a strategy I like to. The fact that they're dumping and the float. First, the float was too high, and then I knew they were dumping from all this data. And you can look at the yearly chart, see that they're dumping. So I'm like, okay, I'm not getting in pre-market. So market open came. Um, I seen it just spiking, 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 and I'm like, I'm not sure if I want to get into this. And then it started going sideways, and I just chased it. I didn't even, I won't say I chased it. I did more of like, let me put these triangles in. Excuse me. Um, I, I didn't chase it, but I wanted to get in the 70s. Um, I was tempted to chase it into the 280s, um, but I'm like, I'd rather just wait for a pullback, and I didn't think it was going to give me a pullback. So um, I entered my order at, I guess I entered it at two. Yeah, I did. I guess I did. Yeah. So I entered it at, I chased it. I got in the 80s, and I thought it would push up. And I told myself to, I'm like, okay, uh, they're dumping shares, they're selling, so get in and get out. Um, and my risk was two 270. After I got in, I thought it would consolidate. Didn't really know where to get out. I didn't think, honestly, didn't think of where to get out. My best thought was VWAP, but um, when it pulled back here, I was like, okay, um, it's at 773 and it's consolidating. So I'm like, okay, I would have to get out at VWAP. Um, if not, I would have to get out. I want to get out at 770, and I'm like, okay, that's what I'll do. And it started slowly cracking down, and then on this big drop right here, it's not. It wasn't all. It didn't all just happen in a quick second. It literally was slowly coming down, and it got to 275, then 270, and I had my chance to get out at 269, didn't get out, and just refused to get out. I was like, maybe I just got to give it a little bit more time. It has yet to break VWAP nor lower day, and I'm like giving it more time. And there's nothing wrong with giving it more time. It's just when it's not working, you get out. And at this point, finally, when it broke lower day plus the $50 mark, I was like, okay, I'm out. I mean, plus the half dollar mark, I'm like, I'm out. So I'm like, I'm not gonna let this turn into a hold and hope. I already broke my rule one time here, then broke my second wrist and the third wrist. I don't want to have these layers of risk. I want to just risk off of one area, one point. Um, but I thought maybe VWAP will hold or maybe lower day will hold, and I honestly chased it. Um, this loss was only supposed to be a $200 loss. After it panicked and it got down here, it broke VWAP. I thought it would hold VWAP. So I'm like, okay, it's not holding this point. Let me see if it will hold VWAP. It didn't hold VWAP. So I'm like, all right, whatever. It's not holding VWAP. Um, but it still hasn't broke lower day. Maybe it's just going to consolidate around VWAP and then under it's going to consolidate under VWAP but hold above lower day and then break. And then it hit my risk at lower day, and I was like, all right, fuck it, I gotta get out. Um, I gotta get out. And then after I got out at 250, exactly at 250, it bounced back up 10 cents. You know, like it could have been a $400 loss, but who cares? I should have stuck to my rule and got out at 270 here. Um, uh, then on top of that, I should have exited when uh, it was time for me to exit at VWAP and here and lower day. And then it just kept consolidating, and I just watched it for a little bit. And I was at Starbucks because my internet has been in and out. Um, and then uh, it kept going lower. It went down to I think a low of um, 241, and I was just like, all right, whatever. I'm just gonna keep watching it. I wish this would move a little bit faster. And then it just panicked down and came right back up and got near to my wrist point. And I could have gotten out here, but I was already out, and I don't want to hold and hope and go through a roller coaster because this could have never went down. And I was thinking to myself like, "Oh, I should have held da da da." But I'm like, I want to break that habit of just holding and hoping and holding longer because I did that here and I took a bigger loss. Yeah, I just rebounded, but I don't want to be in those situations no more. So I quickly got that out of my mind and I left it alone and I kept watching it with one eye open throughout the rest of this day. And then it's almost 1 o'clock now. And then I see that it started rebounding and now it's broken VWAP, uptrending, held, and then now broke high. It broke high today. Um, broke pre-market highs as well, and but couldn't get past three. And it's a clear reason why they couldn't get past three because they've been dumping all all year. You can see, yeah, they IPO'd last year, and they've just been dumping ever since, and dumping ever since. So it's like it's nothing but back orders selling into any quick spikes. Um, and there's probably back orders, probably like thinking, you know what, I'm gonna hold until the very end. I'm going down with the ship. Don't realize that this is trading's not like that. But yeah, it ended up breaking high a day, and it ended up breaking high a day, and couldn't get past three, and then it was a wrap for me. I mean, I was already out, but the fact that I see that it can move straight down like this, it's just fading straight back down. I mean, that's dumping right here. That's that's the company dumping. As you can see in the volume right here, the volume picks up even more as they dump. The volume's higher than the regular volume because they're dumping. So, um, I mean, all in all, this wasn't a bad trade as far as like um, strategy wise. Well, I wouldn't say that. I just felt I chased it, and I knew I had to play a dip and rip, and I didn't because I chased it. But overall, this stock did give a nice move. Um, um, no, not a nice move, but a small move. Uh, it ended up doing what I thought it would towards later in the day. But overall, I mean, the only thing I felt like I did really good at was um, not getting in pre-market. I mean, although it would have been better for me to get in pre-market, that's not the rule I want to follow. That's not the criteria I want to follow. And then I'm glad I at least I didn't hold and hope the entire day. I got out because that would have set me up for bad habits later on. I got out when it was officially um, not working because I mean I had set my own arbitrary risk right here. Then I had set the risk at VWAP and another risk at lower day. The true risk is lower day than VWAP. Um, um, but Ducks, not the Ducks, but Britannia was like um, going longer. True risk should be lower day or on a massive pullback that held. Like like as you see here, let's say if it never hit this lower day here, um, let's say if it hit the lower day here, right? Or let's say it pulled back here, but the lower day was never um, the lower day was never here at 253. Let's say it never had that lower day, right? It pulled back, it pulled back, and it held this support here of whatever it was for 241. It held here. Um, let's say okay, 241. It held 241. That's what I should have been risking off of. When it pulls back like that and consolidates, um, I should be looking for an opportunity to get in. And um, well, it went down to 244 here, and it went even lower. I really wish this thing would get out my way sometimes. And it went to 241 here. So, um, just that area I should have been risking off of, or getting in at, and then risking off of. And I should have waited to see if 945 wouldn't do a different rip. Um, if not, I don't see it moving. 10 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock gave me a small bounce, and then came back down, and then I would have been up. That's what would have been it. But if I had more day trades, and I wasn't in a cash account, and I didn't have to wait for funds to settle, I could have just uh, been continually watching this and been like, okay, Sonny, let's look at the big picture. What do you think this is gonna do um, uh, for the rest of the day? And I could have either decided that okay, this is not gonna work, or I've been like, okay, let me keep watching to see if it holds a certain area and maybe it can start pushing up. And that's what it did here. It held that area and then it started pushing up. So I guess I got to get into a rhythm of, or in the habit of um, uh, uh, watching these stocks, watching the rest of the day. And even though I don't have another opportunity to trade until the next day, still watch it to see if you'll get that opportunity, um, and then go from there. Um, and that's just where I need to improve on. But more importantly, I need to improve on just cutting. There's nothing wrong with me setting or not cutting at my arbitrary risk because I know it's arbitrary. I know it's random. It's just what I chose. Um, and in VWAP, yeah, VWAP is where I can risk off of, but VWAP is where everybody's selling and buying. So it's like where the true buyers are at um, today. was not where this low was at 253, but this low here throughout the entire day. This low throughout this entire day right here. That's where all the buyers are. So um, I lost my train of thought, but uh, I just need to. There's just so much more I can improve on, cutting and seeing the bigger picture. Um, there was no opportunities to trade today. I mean, I won't say there was no opportunities, but there was nothing that I didn't like personally. Um, I didn't see anything that I liked, anything that I wanted to trade. This was the only one, but the flow and the history of this chart was bad. This wasn't moving at all. HMTV. This stock was too high. This is a stock that I trade. This stock wasn't moving at all. This stock was moving. I liked it, but the price. Um, uh, it was under a penny. I'm doing my best to stay away from trades like that. And at the time, it was holding above VWAP when I was watching it, but I just didn't want to trade it, and I'm glad I didn't because it ended up failing. But yeah, that's it though. Thank you.